Perfect. There you go.
Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. I'm spiritual medium Kellee White. And guess who's my guest tonight? Take a guess. It's James Van Praagh, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all, or be with you all, and be with you, Kellee, of course.
It's so great to be with you.
Under these crazy conditions where I'm at right
conditions. Now. Oh, yeah. First, let's explain your conditions here.
Okay, so I'm in the middle of moving. So I have a lot of boxes behind me, to the side, me, in front of me. And this is the best I can do with my computer at the moment. So kind of in the middle of transition, which is great. I spend any time with you. So that's going on.
What's so funny about that is we're having this eclipse in another hour. In about an hour, this eclipse begins.
And you told me I moved during that eclipse.
I did. I said you'd be moving. And your birthday, which was August 23rd, was right smack in the middle of this these two powerful eclipses.
How else would I move? I mean, come on.
Exactly. And eclipses change people's lives. So here we go. Let's say hi to a few people and then we'll start talking, James. Hi, Melissa. Hey, Leslie. Hi, Dee. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Sonia.
I would start my chat if I could. Okay.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, Renee. So Renee has a great question for you. She says, James, how's your book doing?
Oh, Renee. Come on now. Hi, everyone. Okay. It's doing really well. I'm working. It's in between moving, so I'm doing different things, but it takes a lot of work to write a book, as everybody knows. But once you sit down and start doing it, it works. It comes along pretty well. Right now, I'm actually starting on chapter 6. And I'm in the middle of at a seminary when I was 14. And I'm one of the first stories is when I first saw spirit apparitions at the seminary. And it was a period dressed lady and gentleman, and ended up in they were kind of in the top of a staircase. And as the time goes on, my time at the seminary, they invited me I would see them often, and when I'd have disruptions at the seminary with other students and things would happen, I would often go there and they would talk to me. And so that's where I'm at right now. It's coming along really well. It's going to be a very exciting book to read and to go through, and it's a wonderful journey to write and to explore and create. And
especially at this time in your life.
Yeah, I'm old, and it's good to remember this. At 68, just turned 68, and it's really a great way. I think everybody should do this, whether it's through journaling or just capturing the day of your birthday, capturing your year, what you lived prior, and you remember things which you might not have thought you'd remember, but they're in the back of your mind somewhere, and they do come forward. So writing this book has been a really interesting time of as you and I've talked about often, Kellee, a living life review. Yes. And see where you've come from, what you're doing, and how to change things in the future for the better in your life and everyone else's.
And you and I were talking earlier, you like Dolly Parton on so many levels.
Oh, I like everybody. Yeah, I like everyone. She's one of my heroes and ascended masters, and really lived personified.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Personified love and positive attitude, and lived in complete love and unconditional love, and just had a strong faith. I'll say it that way. And she often talked about God, and she was Christian, but she talked about God in a very a way which didn't offend anybody. It was a universal energy. And it's so funny. I mentioned to you a couple of days ago, I was in my car and I have a playlist, but it's all sporadic. I don't know what songs I play. And I never programmed this song in. It just, I would kind of called DJ and just play songs. And there's a couple of songs I never heard Dolly Parton sing yesterday and today. One called Shine, which was beautiful. And then there was another one, Peace Train, from Cat Stevens a few years ago. That was, yeah, she has that lovely. I wish everybody could be like that, that humanitarian spirit.
In the energies of the world, be a Dolly.
Be a Dolly. Wouldn't that be great? Be a Dolly.
Be a Dolly.
And for that to love half-mast and the Empire State Building lit up and the Lincoln Memorial, I mean, it's worth it. To have a human being that, and we celebrate love and light and happiness and joy, instead of other strange things that don't belong to humans. It's great. It's just wonderful.
Well, I was looking at her chart because, I just had to. And you guys have some similarities. I mean, you're here to leave a legacy too. You're here to leave a legacy. She was here to leave a legacy. In numerology, James, she was a 22, and a 22 is the builder, and it means to leave a legacy. That was her birth date, was to leave a legacy, which I thought was amazing. And the other thing about her, because she was a force of nature, 22 is a master number that is a force of nature. But she also, in Vedic astrology and in Western astrology, she had a Capricorn sun. So she was fierce. I mean, just unflappable, just that fierce energy. But she had
possible integrity, all that.
Total. And in Vedic astrology, she had a Leo moon and a Leo rising. Look at the hair.
Yeah.
Right. And that Leo moon, such heart. And then in the destiny that I do, she was an 8 of diamonds. 8 of diamonds is what you value and you bring power to it. And you can go in an opposite direction with that, but she went full force into the best possible place with that. And she had a 10 of spades on top of that as a rising, which means hard work. So she encompassed this chart of hers and it was to leave a legacy. And I have to, I always think about you with leaving a legacy. You have a legacy to leave for people.
I guess you're old enough. Yeah, the older I get, and the more I look back at the work that I've been involved in. Yeah, it's work that will help people and open up minds and hearts, and I hope continues. And I'm going to leave that. That's why I created my school to do that, and I try to live the best life I can as an example to everybody, to smile and send love, be love. And I can't tell you how many times a day I smile at people and I say, how are you doing? And one lady said to me today, and she was really depressed. She looked depressed, very down. And I had Pearl with me, and Pearl opens all these doors because Pearl's so beautiful. And I said, how are you? She goes, I said, but you know what? You're here, and let's celebrate the moment. She goes, thank you. I needed that. And I think everybody needs that. If we could just, all of us just do that during the day.
Well, kindness. So you have the kindness piece and you have the compassion piece. No, kindness and compassion.
We just got to try. That's what we can do. I mean, it's better than the opposite. And that's just
right.
Kind of who we are. And one thing I do, which we all should do, is laugh at myself. As you know, I love to laugh at myself. Yeah. And Dolly did that too. She used to laugh at herself all that. She had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Great sense of humor. She told a joke. I just heard it today. It was hysterical. And can I just tell it really quickly?
Yes, please.
She was at this, because I was at this, I should tell you Johnny Carson. I was at this diner once, when I first got started at this diner, and all of a sudden this old man comes over, and she said, and he asked me, can I get some food? I got some food, I'm eating, and he asked, how am I doing? All that's fine. And she goes, and then I left, he left, and we went on our way, and I noticed that he left me his bill. So she goes, I met him at the end out of the restaurant, went to the corner, and he's standing there. And I said, sir, I would have paid for your meal if you just would have let me know. And he swang at me. And Jenny goes, what'd you do? She goes, I couldn't do anything because I get 2 black eyes because her boobs were so big.
Oh my God. That's very funny.
She was very self-effacing
and she was so brilliant.
Brilliant. It's a bright lady, bright business person, and kind. The word kindness comes in.
But I just can't get over that. The song that she wrote, I Will Always Love You. Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard the story, like a lot of people heard the story, about how she was asked by Elvis Presley's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, to have half of that song, for Elvis to have that song, and that Elvis would need, and that they would need to get publishing and writing for the rest of, eternity, basically. And she thought about it. And imagine Elvis Presley, it's a big deal back then. And she said, no, I'm going to save it for my own family. Which that took courage.
Took a lot of courage, and eventually Whitney Houston, of course, used it, and they asked her about that. What version? She goes, when I first heard Whitney Houston use that song, she goes, I was driving my car, and I pulled over the side of the road. I couldn't believe it was my song. It's like, oh my gosh, I never thought that rendition. And it just blew me away. So,
and then do you know what she did with the profits of that? With the profits of that,
yes.
With the profits from when Whitney.
Yes, it was $6 million. She said
it was she gave it to, like, started the book thing. She really used
the imagination reading.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of bulk of her estate is being left to as well as that, which is amazing.
Which is I just think she was amazing, So I'm glad we got to experience that. And I just want to make everybody understand tonight we have an eclipse in about an hour. So make sure you're resting. You're not out there doing anything if you can, because this eclipse.
And what does that mean, Kelly, when you say eclipse? Because there are people different.
We have a full moon. The full moon will be it's a blood red moon, and it'll be in about an hour and a half, and it'll start you won't be able to see it because it will just get real dark and then red. It's going to be extraordinary. And
can you look at it? Is it okay?
Yes, you can look at this one, and it will be seen through the United States. Unless I don't know what your weather like is.
It's 9:02 here in California, but it's cloudy in San Diego right now. So
okay, it's cloudy in San Diego. It should be pretty clear in the East Coast and in the Midwest. But this is a big one because this full lunar eclipse is about healing. So we want to, tonight's show, we're going to be talking about regrets and forgiving ourselves, forgiving and healing old wounds. And this is the perfect eclipse for this.
Because it's also, Kelly, transformation.
For sure.
Letting go of the shadow part of ourselves, that darker side coming into the light.
Yes, because it's so true. I mean, how do we honor what the past taught us without allowing it to become the place where we live? So we really need to start allowing that to happen. And so, James, I have a question for you. Can you ever forgive yourself when you cannot go back and change what happened?
I forgive myself. Oh, yeah, I do. I forgive myself because I realize that I'm here in this school and that I'm taking on the human form. And that there's many hard lessons. And at that particular time in my life, that's my understanding of what I had at that moment.
That's where your consciousness was at that point.
That's where it was at that moment. And now, of course, it's very different. So I wouldn't have done the same thing now if it was presented to me. But that's what it was at that particular time. And that's why I got to accept that. I think it's never too late to forgive someone. I think you always can forgive somebody. And I think it's really important we forgive people while we're still walking on this earth. We're still clothed in this our God is clothed in this clothing, embodiment, because this is where you forgive. You don't want to bring it over there in that eternity. You don't want to do that. You'll have eternity. You don't want that. You want to forgive here. It's an element that is of this earth, and you want to keep it here. And the right thing to do, of course, is forgiveness is an act of love. And this is all about love. We are love. And you want to leave love here on the earth. You don't want to bring something over which isn't love.
Yeah.
What about you? Can you forgive certain things in the past or forgive certain people?
I've come to a lot of acceptance. Yeah. And I also understand the value of the lessons that I've learned.
Well, Kelly, there are a lot of people, like when I did many readings that I've done, I've had, children that say, or people that have passed over with drunk drivers. And in one case, I had a parent whose son died and the drunk driver lived and she couldn't forgive the driver. And she said, I'll never forgive him. I said, well, your son said you need to forgive him. He's already forgiven him, but you need to. So that's an interesting one because I've done enough readings where I've had that similar experience where they talk about forgiveness. You need to forgive this person or that person. And I'll never do that. And years later, I bring through that person who didn't forgive on the other side. And they say to me, I met you at so-and-so and you told me I should forgive my mother-in-law. And I didn't. And I regret that.
Wow. So
several times it's happened to everybody. So that's an important one.
And I think we always have to remember that Earth is a tough school. Big lessons.
I thought about it today. It's one of the toughest schools there is. It's a hard school. I just moved from, I'm in a temporary apartment downtown San Diego from kind of North County San Diego, where it was really green and gardens, and I had beautiful gardens, and I'm in this very hardscape. And for me, it's really rough because I'm not that way. I've been in a city in 20 years. So it's been very rough as far as the hardscape of it all. And I'm not at this city living. And it's been very, very tough. But I can imagine I imagine that it's tough for everybody, but I think we have to make it better for ourselves. No one can make it better for us. We got to do it ourselves. We got to do the work for ourselves, whether it's forgiving somebody else, whether it's changing our lives, whether it's believing in ourselves, whether it's having faith, whether it's telling someone you love them, someone you forgive them. We have to do the work. I do believe the universe will follow us. The universe provides. If we give them that stage to act, they'll work with us. We've got to give them something. And in this case, it's forgiveness of other people. It's love of other people. It's love of ourself. Many people I find, especially in my school, well, not a lot of people, but some of the students too, that I work with a lot, I find a lot of people just don't have that love for themselves. Maybe, and as a therapist too, you'll heard more about this than I have, that goes back to their childhood where the mother or father or an adult said something and they're still holding on to that nugget, and that holds them back from loving themselves fully.
Yeah, and they will hold on to that their entire life. They could be 70, 80 years old. They're still holding on to that.
It's such a waste of an opportunity of your time down here, I think. And why do they hold on to it? Is it an ego thing? Is it that I really want love from that parent I never got? Well, what is it why do they hold on to it?
It could be generationally, they witnessed it being held on by their mother or their father. And so somebody in this lifetime, if you are lucky enough to be here at this lifetime, you are here, especially if you're watching this show, to break up that family trauma or that generational trauma. You're here to do that. And you'll feel an urge to do it. You may hear something tonight about self-love that just urges you on to start to feel, even if you can't get to forgiveness, if you can get to acceptance, if you can get to some sort of, turning it around with a spiritual perception of things.
I think that we're all treasure chests. And I think we have to
I like that.
Open up that treasure chest and see the jewels inside. And each day, if you look, you're going to find a different jewel. And I do that every day, whether it's I imagine a treasure chest or whatever it might be. I open like a doorway and I look for something different, distinctive, that's shining. I'm a shiny because of ADHD as a kid, shiny things. And it'll be a pearl. It'll be a rose. It'll be something. And it's so weird, but I use that during the day, kind of programming. And then throughout the day, when I meet people, it comes up a conversation. Just naturally.
I love that. And for all of you out there, James and I have not had it easy. We have not had an easy
No, we have not, especially you.
Well, and I'll never forget you and I were in Mexico together, and I was facing a really challenging decision where I had to go either left or right. And both areas were just terrible and awful. And you at the same time were going through a really rough. I mean, I remember you and I sat there. We were in Cancun and we're like, should we have a shot of tequila? Yes.
I think we had to have a shot of tequila. Or two.
It was interesting that we had each other to bounce this off of. But sometimes in life, there are such difficult roads because on earth, this is what we come for. We come for the uncomfortable roads and then to grow, to shift our consciousness, which is really important because that's what we're talking about tonight. Because, James, some people will say they did something, they regret something, but it's very different from I'm unworthy of love because of what I did.
Very, very different.
How do you help people, coach them along if they feel unworthy because they did something? And we all do things.
I'm trying to remember, the past is the past, it's already gone. The future is yet to be. So the universe gives us a present every day. This is the present. Today is the present. So this moment, again, like I talked about, the past is where you were at that particular time. Who were you at that particular time? What were the circumstances at that time? I mean, we can all go crazy, and we all do every once in a while. It's like, how can the universe do this? And this move that I'm doing, which I'm still in the middle of this move, and I don't know where I'm landing, but it's like, there are points I was like, I'm ready to go. Take me. I can't take it anymore. It's just too much. It's too much.
Because it was so stressful.
It was so stressful. Yeah. I'm talking fire down my arms, my back. I'm talking about going to doctors because it was like nerve issues because of my just stress related. Not even moving boxes, which I moved a lot, but it was just stress related. And it was interesting because I went away to the country, and I think it took it right away. But it's interesting as I was driving up to upstate, up to Northern California, and I'm driving up there, and I heard, and I'm just enjoying every moment. on the freeway, every 5 minutes stopping to pee, and on the freeway. And as you get older, you got to stop more often. I found out. So no, but I'm just joking. But as I go through Berkeley and the foothills, and I heard my mother say, things are getting better now. And then a guide of mine came through and said, James, you have to remember this. Now, mind you, I've been in the move and craziness of going and moving because I have Pearl to look after, I have a house to look after, I have the apartment I'm working on.
You had so many things.
So many weird things going on at the same time. And I heard the guide say, remember always, James, you're a soul on this, you're a soul that doesn't belong on the earth, you're just visiting. And these are various conditions for your soul to be perfected.
Oh, wow.
So you have to go through those hard things to get, it's very much like, it's very much like the lotus in that dirty, muddy water. You have to go through that to bring that beautiful flower out. And
but in that moment that you heard that, did it shift your
totally
conscious?
It's a condition. I heard that it's a condition you're going through. And many times I've heard from other mediums, by the way, very well-known physical mediums like Leslie Flint, there's these various conditions you are going through, that's going through. The earth right now is going through conditions with the wars and the political upheaval. There are conditions. Those will change. Everything is movement. Everything's moving all the time. We don't want to get stagnant. And we talked about earlier, holding on to stuff. That holds you back. That stops life from moving. Life is about movement. And when you're
moving forward.
Past, you're holding on to that past. And that's wrong. It'll corrode. It's like same with if you can't forgive somebody within your being, whether it's the emotional body, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like a corrosion that takes place.
It's a wound. Sometimes it's called a narcissistic wound.
Is that right?
Yes, there's a word for it. Yeah, because it's a pain body wound. And Eckhart Tolle
pain body, Eckhart Tolle, pain body, and it's that cholesterol buildup of that forgiveness energy, and it'll stop. It'll build, and it'll eventually manifest in the physical form in some way. And it does, and I've seen it. So interesting, very, very interesting. There's a lady, I shouldn't name her name, but I will. There was a lady on TV, and people probably know who it is, but she was very nasty, and I met her, and she was so nasty. And you know this person.
I do.
She ended up, she had a wound in her face. She had a growth in her face. You know that is.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And I said to someone who manages her, I said, what was that all about? She goes, well, I said, no. I said, it was anger. And I said, it was anger. And it was meanness. And I met the person, and there was a lot of energy. There's a negative energy. She goes, now that you say that, there was. I said, yeah. And that thing on her face was just negative energy being released. And I think that's what happens. I really, really do.
Well, it physically manifests.
It physically manifests. You don't deal with your stuff emotionally, mentally, emotionally, and you got to deal with it. It's true. And that's the secret of this whole conversation, Kellee, is everything. Life is movement, and your thoughts have to move in a positive way. You got to bring it to a high vibration, high frequency. You got to live the life. You got to treat people in a great life, like our hero Dolly did. You got to live like that. You got to treat everyone. God says yes. We humans say no. And we got to kind of live in that way. A good friend, mutual friend of ours said to me once, I'll never forget one of the things she said, which is very interesting because I never hear her say these things. She goes, you got to take the high road, less traveled. And
yes.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true. Make that mark. Make your mark, everybody. Make your mark. That, you don't do grandiose things. Make your mark by living the best life you can and demonstrating to others how they too, by looking at you, by looking at your example, by reviewing your life, how you live your life out, how that can happen. I just went black on my screen. Did I?
Oh, yeah, and you froze on mine, but do you want to, let's see.
Yeah, I'll go back and come, something's going on.
Yeah, okay.
I will go out and come back in.
Go out and come back.
I'll see you in a bit. It's a commercial break.
Commercial break.
Commercial break. You're right back.
But these are some great questions. There are some, comments here. It's hard to forgive yourself, but then realize you didn't know any better. And I suppose that is the reason. Absolutely, Wendy. If it's a shift in consciousness is what we have here. And sometimes the shift in consciousness comes a little later, and it comes for, like, during this conversation tonight with James, it may come out and you start to feel better and you start to forgive yourself for things that you didn't know at that time, whatever the traumas were going on. Joanne Gibson. Hey, Joanne. She says, once I forgive those who hurt me, and some were pretty bad, the transformation was amazing, right? Once forgiveness is given, we must put away all the negative feeling that goes with it. And the new light you begin to carry is like walking in the clouds. Don't you love that? Joni was actually with us in Alaska.
Yes. Love the picture, Joni. Thank you. It's very interesting because forgiveness is a high level aspect. So it's a postgraduate, let's say. It's a subject matter, it's high aspect. So everybody should learn that high aspect because your life moves forward. When you forgive, your life moves forward. And you're sending positive energy to that person that you're forgiving. You're also, in some ways, since you have not forgiven them, in some level, energetically, you're holding them back. And you want to speed up that vibration. And forgiveness is that higher vibration, that higher frequency. So by you're forgiving them, you're giving them movement of life. You're moving not only your own life, but you're giving them the capacity to move higher, to take on that higher frequency.
And so, James, what have you learned from Spirit about the apologies that we never gave?
Well, I learned, and I told this before on a show we did together, my brother who passed last year, or a year before, and he was not a nice, as you know, you met him. He was a nice.
He was a challenge.
There was a challenge. Oh, sure. We both share challenges.
A lot of sibling challenges out there.
A lot of sibling challenges. Everybody. But he was not good emotionally with his relationships for whatever reason.
Yeah.
His wives and so forth. And the one wife, he was really not nice. He'd say nasty things about her. Like, you shouldn't do that. He was just angry. And when he passed over, he came back to me. One of the first things he said was, "Oh, James, you got it right." He goes, I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'm not doing well." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "I should have forgiven her. I shouldn't not have said the things I said to her." And I said, and he goes, I said, "Have you seen her yet?" He goes, "I'm not able to see her yet. I first got to heal those aspects of myself. I got to really heal what I did for myself before I'm able to get on that level that she's at." Same thing with my father. I said, "You see, Dad?" He goes, "No, I'm not able to yet. I first got to clean myself up. And so I'm able to get to that higher level." So this is interesting too. This is a whole other can of worms, which I want to talk a little bit about, if it's okay. Because I have many people who, whether it's parents or partners or whatever it might be, and again, don't think this the exact way, everybody, but I often think, I just want to get over there and meet my son, or I got to meet my partner. And I keep on saying to them, as Spirit would say, you've got to do your work here first. You got to do your work and evolve down here, because when you pass out of the body, it doesn't mean you're at the same level of that loved one. You still got work to do. So you got to do it here so you'll be able to be with them. So I don't think just because you leave the body, you'll be able to be with them, because you got work to do. And that's very interesting. And my brother said to me about 2 months ago, I said, and I was driving somewhere, and I think it was him or it was a woman. And Kellee, I told you this, I believe. And someone said, when we get here and we finish our self-life review and we work on ourselves and really go to some difficult places and these spaces, and we see things that could have been if we had behaved badly, or should have been, shoulda, woulda, coulda. We can see what happened to people if we didn't do the right thing. We see all different types of things. But someone said to me, once that's finished, you go to your assignment. That we're all given assignments we have to go to. So life doesn't just stop. Yes, you meet your loved ones and you have a life review, and you can do whatever you want to. But then the soul eventually goes to an assignment. Everybody's assigned a certain job or jobs. My mother was once assigned to children who didn't have a mother, children who passed over without a mom. Another person I know, a lot of people I know who died of overdoses are there helping other people over with overdoses, helping them over because they know what it's like. They had that mindset when they first came over. There's so many things that go on. Yesterday I went to my dermatologist, have her checkup. I didn't tell him this yet. I should have told Glenn. I didn't. Sorry, Glenn. But as he walked in, I saw all these guides around him who are all doctors and nurses, and he's a doctor and bright man. And I see that a lot now. I see a lot of that more often than usual, by the way.
I'm
seeing a lot of that. I'm doing a spirit circle tomorrow night I have a couple more openings. There's about 7 people, and I'm going to discuss that a lot tomorrow as well. But the beings, I'm seeing what they're wearing. Now I'm getting to what they're wearing. Not only am I getting seeing who they are and what they're wearing. Get this one. I'm now really into the material of what they're wearing.
Are you talking about guides?
I'm talking about guides or beings.
Okay, so wait, I have to share this with you. I did a reading today and with a woman from Hawaii, and I don't know if she's watching tonight, but this is what happened. I was a spirit guide reading, and I said, wait a minute, I have to describe this guide. And I start describing this guide, but what I really went into, James, was what he was wearing. I cannot believe you're saying this. And what it was this unbelievable type of material, like almost like clouds, just like a gown that just kept going out and flowing out. It was such a visual that I said to her, I want you to draw this. I started, like you, I started, drawing it. Do you think that we're doing this now because the guides are so, well, they've always been important. I mean, you've been talking about guides forever. But is that what it is?
I think prevalent. They want to be known.
Okay.
I guess.
Maybe they make more of an impact, maybe?
Making more of an impact. I mean, my story I'm writing for my book right now, the lady in period clothing, I'm looking at that period clothing, but she'd make me, as I remember it, there was more pieces to it. And this is interesting. I remember when Debbie Ford first passed over.
Yeah.
Debbie Ford was a lovely life coach person. And she said, oh my gosh, James, it's amazing. I'm in gossamer clothes. Gossamer, like butterfly, yes. Gossamer. And I'm finding that it's so interesting. It's because even the guides that were on my dermatologist, they were appearing to me as they would show me who they were, but in the spirit realm they look very differently, of course. And I could just get sometimes that they don't. It's not cloth. It's a different material.
Right. This was different material. I would have thought it was like made out of clouds. I didn't know how else to describe it.
Well, another time when I gave Shirley MacLaine a reading, which was her 80th birthday, and I went to her house, and I was going to be a big party. Okay, I'll be there for Shirley. I was the only one.
You were lucky.
So I gave Shirley, and because of Shirley, I give her a lot of credit for the work I'm doing, because I read out on a limb, and I read that, and I wrote her a thank you. I somehow got her address, and I sent her a thank you card for that, because it spoke to me, that book. I never read it before, like really spoke to me at the deepest levels. And she actually wrote me back on Christmas Eve. I had a card for her, and she said,
wow.
And I still have that card packed away somewhere. But anyway, I did a reading for her, and it was so interesting because she had some of the things that came through were just amazing. Because the beings that came through, they were galactic beings.
Totally.
They were galactic beings from different realms. I don't remember the words that they used. They weren't English words or human words, but galaxy words. And they were the closest I could say the outfits they were wearing on the material was metallistic, kind of. I guess you could say aluminum, maybe.
Wow.
The closest thing, like the aluminum. I guess, that would be the closest thing. Of course, it's so funny, Kelly, because as we sit here talking a 3-dimensional world, we're discussing 7 dimensions, 6 dimensions, and it's a whole different experience in those worlds. Colors are different, vibrations, the frequency is so high in different colors, materials. What we think is physical is not. It's just so interesting. I mean, now I'm finding that I look more into now if I see trees and I see a leaf, I'll look into the leaf. I see the veins of the leaf, and then I go into the vein of the leaf.
So you're noticing things on a deeper level.
At a deeper level, and it's very interesting. Again, this is for everybody that's watching. Talk about resentment and old time, and bringing love to people. I've said this many times we're together, but like I go to the dog park every day, and there are a lot of kids on their phones. And the dogs are running around, I'm not obnoxious about it, but I say, oh, your dog is playing the ball, and they're like, huh? So you have a dog here. Do you know that your dog is smiling at you? Look at your dog smiling at you. They come and say, oh, your dog smiles at you. You should probably talk to a lot more. It smiles at you, and you're such a lovely. The dog loves that heart of yours. And they go, huh? Your heart. Your dog's talking about your heart. I said, I'm clairvoyant. It's going to show me your heart. You're a good person. And they put the phone in their pocket and they start playing with their dog. So it's reminding them who they are.
Yes.
It's giving that love energy, and it's
in a non-shaming way.
In a non-shaming way, not embarrassing.
Not judging, but you're just trying to.
I think we all have to do that. I think that's all us light workers out there who are watching this and being part of this. We got to try and attempt to change things in those ways with each individual we meet every single day on our path who are open. Who are there might be people that. I was with Denavia yesterday, our good friend Denavia, and we're in Sprouts, and her and I together in shopping in an aisle. It's crazy. We're just so much fun. And there was a gentleman there stocking shelves, and she goes, "How are you?" And he goes, I'm trying to work. She goes, oh, I see that. Okay, you have a good time with your work. And she just walked away. So wow. Some people are very closed off in their world, which is fine. That's their business. Yeah. But as best as you can, it really it makes them feel better. You feel better. It's the right way to be.
Well, here's a good question. When somebody's already passed away and there have been some, words said between somebody, how on the other side, do they know that we are sorry for what happened?
Yes. So they know immediately. They hear our thoughts right away, of course.
Okay.
And they hear our thoughts, our prayers right away. It's millisecond. Yeah. And there's no time. So and they know our totality of our being, as in the totality of their being. And they know that they hear our thoughts and they realize that you are sorry, but they also realize where it comes from. They realize the intent. They go back all the way to where the source came from. Maybe it was in this lifetime. Maybe it was another lifetime. Maybe it was a certain relationship they were in. They projected it onto us. So they understand more than we know. And that's the wonderful thing. And they forgive us. And they're, it's so hard for people to think this way because we're thinking in such a limited, linear way, in a three-dimensional way. But they're with us all the time. They can be with several places at once in the new form. They're with us in our thoughts. They're with us in our physically. They can be around us. And we're not just limited here either. We're in different places at once too.
Right.
Hard to explain, but because people say in a box sometimes. But so they know everything about us, our totality. They see our potential.
Okay.
That's her potential. One thing about going back to Dolly, one of the greatest things about her was she knew her potential and she could see a potential in other people. And that was one of her greatest gifts, was her knowing her potential and also knowing the potential of other people.
And also knowing herself. She knew herself.
She knew herself up, down, and sideways. Yeah. She knew herself. She loved herself for everything she is and was. Yes. Now people said about her, she goes, oh, that's funny. And just, that's their stuff, not her stuff. Because what other people think of you is none of your business. And she has that one down. And I you share that, I share that. I know myself pretty well. And, I don't let other people get me down. The thing which I get upset about is human behavior. Humans, man's inhumane ways to man. That to me is
it's very upsetting.
It's very upsetting, but it's where we're at. It's this school, but we're at here. You have all the results here. But that's the hard one. But personally, I like to have a good time. I like to enjoy my little kid self, laugh at myself. And I think we all should laugh at ourselves. We got to give ourselves laugh at ourselves at least once a day, at least. And and we surround ourselves with positive, supportive people. Don't surround yourself with depressing people that bring you down. Life's too short. Get rid of them. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, is that the truth? And here's a comment. This is a good one. Is forgiveness about releasing negative energy?
Well, it's whatever energy you want to put in it. So whatever the intention of that energy is, however you want to characterize that energy, that you characterize energy. So if it's an energy about that you say someone did something wrong, you're judging someone. Judgment is fear-based. So it's fear-based. So maybe you're not forgiving them because there's fear involved there. What are they going to think of you? What you could have, should have been? They could have done to you. Maybe there's unrealistic expectations from that person that you're still holding on to. And maybe it's that person not capable, which you taught me, not capable of being a certain way that you want them to be. We hold on to so many things that it's impossible for that person to be what we want them to be. They're not that way. They're at a certain level. They don't understand certain things. Another great one is, accept people for where they're at and love people.
I always say that. Accept them from where they are at. Some people in this lifetime continue to be limited. They don't have to be, but they are limited.
Some people don't get it. Some people
just don't get it. And then, often they'll just be coming back around.
And they know what they know. They know what they know, and that's all that they know, and that's fine for them. And I'm not judging them. They know what they know, and that's all that they know, and they don't want to know anymore, and that's fine. That's just where they're at. And it doesn't mean we're any better or worse. It's just where they're at. Is where people are at, and you have to accept them for where they're at. That's just where they're at. So, I know people that are very much involved in religion, and not everybody, but some people involved very heavily into it. And I got to say, that's where they're at. That's just their belief system. And that's where they're at. I'm not going to judge it. It's helping them in some way within themselves and their journey. So let them have that, whatever that is. I'm not.
It is their journey. And I always have to remind people of that. Even people who have kids, you always have to remember it's their journey. It's their whatever.
It's their journey. It's not your journey. It's their journey.
Yes.
You might do something different with your kids than they do. And you might think that's the right way. Maybe they don't know the right. Maybe in their mind they think they're doing the right way. So everybody's got to do things that, I always say, as long as you don't hurt someone.
Right. Absolutely. Laura says uncalled rudeness is her number one pet peeve. Is that yours, James?
It's a good
rudeness.
One. It's a good one. Rudeness is a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I stop people in their tracks when they do that.
Yes, you do.
I will stop them and say, "Excuse me." Is that whatever the circumstance might be? I have said, "Is that necessary?" Now I have a really good one. Okay. I told you this the other day. I don't know if I did or not. So I drove up to Northern California. I'm looking to move maybe Northern California way. We'll see. And the redwood trees and all that. I'm looking. So as I'm driving up there, from it's a 10-hour drive from San Diego to up there.
It's a long one.
It's a long way. And I know I'm old, and I'm like Mr. Magoo at the windshield like this because, those lights, there's still lights behind me. I'm like, oh my God, during the dark. I'm like, okay, Mr. Magoo. And there were a couple of times like, wow, and these, I don't want to say kids, younger people, can I say that? Maybe younger people are right on your rear end bumper, right your bumper.
That's the worst.
And it's like, I know I was very proud of DMV growing up and taking driving lessons with my dad and making sure I was 200 feet behind, 2 car lengths, and making sure before you pass your lane, you look at the rear. I got it down, right? And I think that's the way it's considerate. I think it's really inconsiderate. And now, especially the 5 freeway in San Diego, and it's the worst because it's like a racetrack. So I thought, the hell with this. The hell with this. And what I did was I went on Amazon and I got a sign, a sticker, and it said, warning, in big wearing lessons, warning, stay back 200 feet because I'm not responsible for your broken windshield. And I stuck it in the back. I stuck it in the back of my truck.
Good for you.
And it works. I've used it. People either change lanes or they're so far back.
Always the teacher. 200 feet behind.
Well, I was getting tired of rolling to my window and get back. And my sister said, they could have a gun. I'm like, yeah, I guess they could have a gun. But,
Oh my God.
So this way, and it works. It really is so funny. I just laugh at myself. Like, good you did it.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
I couldn't take it. I just that's the rudeness. The rudeness on the road. Road rudeness is really
well, and it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's inconsiderate. Even I'm down to people not using their traffic signals. They're like, come on,
Right.
Or we have a good one in San Diego, which is just so funny here when I moved here. Everything is metered, including right in front of your house, the private street. It's all metered.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. They tried putting meters down in Balboa Park, and the people didn't like it, so they took cement and put it in the holes. The meters.
Wow.
So they got rid of the meters. But everything is, it's an interesting place. I can't take rudeness on the road. That hurts me. And then I said people treating dogs bad. I can't.
Oh.
I'll decapitate them. I'm sorry. I will.
I know.
I will. And then and as an animal, I just can't. Being rude to each other. And sometimes I'll stop people right away and I'll say, is that necessary? Even at businesses, at work, and with someone, a lot of these young people who just, can I help you? And they're going to say, oh, you have beautiful eyes. And they look up and say, oh, thanks. Like, oh, I can see your eyes now. I couldn't see them before. People were talking about. And I do it in a way that they understand and say,
right.
But that's part of it,
Yeah.
It's just sharing. It's just, I don't know, sharing kindnesses. Little kindnesses go a long way, and we're here to do that. We're not here to be stuck in our own world. And it's social media and AI and all this, which is isolating people.
It's isolating totally.
More vigilant and working together with people.
I have a question for you, and this is a good one. If you could sit across from a younger version of yourself for 5 minutes, what would you forgive him for, or what would you tell him, or
I'd say
version of yourself?
To more or less the step will change in that tap class because you could have been a good dancer.
Stay in that tap class.
Stay in the tap class, damn it! That was 3 lessons, do 5. What would I say to that younger
Yeah,
version?
what kind of advice would you give your younger version?
I would really say you need to learn patience. Patience. I would say patience. And also I would say what we just discussed, everybody has where they're at. Everybody's out there at. We got to accept people for where they're at and don't judge people. And don't have unrealistic expectations. And those are things I would really yeah. Well, you taught me that too, Kelly. You're the one that taught me the unrealistic expectations. Because that was a big one in my life that I had to get over. And, helping people in this spirit, as we know, spiritual teachers who've been very well known and made a lot of careers, and yet had no thank yous, appreciation, gratitude.
I know.
Except Sylvia Brown did come back and say thank you to me when I got her first book
She
deal.
did, right?
She did, yeah, she did. Yeah. She came back to me when I was folding my laundry in my underwear in the laundry room. And she said, "Oh, James, I'm so sorry I treated you so badly."
Oh, my God.
It's okay, Sylvia. It's okay. My Sylvia Brown story. Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories. A lot of different stories. Lots. I'd like to write a book about a lot of celebrities and people I've met, well-known people, but I'd probably be sued, so I can't do that.
I know, you're just so careful with that.
But there's some fun stuff, as you know, because you've met a lot of people.
Some fun stuff, yeah.
The fun stuff we share, because
the fun stuff.
People wouldn't believe it. It's just people wouldn't believe it. It's just
right. No, they really wouldn't believe it.
I think talking to dead people is something for the living are scarier.
Oh, here's a good question. She says, "I'm curious about your thoughts, James. When grief and forgiveness overlap, how do you make peace with somebody who's died when there's unresolved wounds between the living and then the other side?" She said,
"Well,
she's
I
grateful
think
for everything you're saying."
I think it's learning to accept that person who passed again for who they were at that time. Maybe they didn't know any better. Maybe they were frightened. Maybe they lived in fear. Maybe they were traumatized by something early in life and they projected onto you. Don't make it about you. Don't make it personalized. Don't give away your power. Have more. That's a great moment to have more compassion toward that soul, because they might not have realized that they were doing that at the time. And don't hold on. Why hold on to that? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them.
It's complicated grief, but
and if you wanted to switch it, I always like this way. Switch it around. You become the other person. How would you feel? Would you want to be forgiven for something you didn't really mean? Yeah. So the best thing to be is loving, and don't let it continue on. Don't be eternal grieving. Don't do it. That's not good. That's not good, because you'll stay at a certain level. You won't move on. Yeah. You really won't.
We've known many people like that.
Maybe, and you'll repeat things over and over again. You don't want to repeat stuff. You want to move on. You want to graduate. You want to cut those cords and forgive them. They didn't know any better at the time. Listen, I had to forgive my father, my brother, my sister. I had to.
Yes.
They didn't know any. They didn't know any better. And my sister's a great story. If I could say this.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
My sister Lynn, who, as you know,
I do.
That she, after her husband passed, she wanted to be a medium, and she took on my name, Van Praagh, my last name. And she didn't really develop much. I mean, she developed a little bit. She had a little bit of an ability, of course. It was more psychic. And then she became well known in her circle over in Long Island, New York, and all over. And it was like, wow, she's using my coattails, and she's riding on my coattails, not even taking development classes. And it's my name, and it's the integrity level. And you can't do that. And she said, but it's my name too. I said, no, your name is not. That's not your name. That's your married name is your name now. You've given that up. Anyway, to make a long story short, I'd have sued her in federal court for copyright infringement.
Can you imagine everybody going after your own family?
Who does that in the court, right? And
I
your
remember.
Sister. I spent a lot of money on that. I was like, I cannot believe that someone has that mindset to do that. What I couldn't fathom it. And it worked out at the very end. I of course I forgave her. It took a while. It took a long time, because it was so hard.
Well, it was really traumatic too.
Oh, traumatic. But I forgave her. That's the right thing to do. You have to forgive her, and I got to the place of forgiving her. And then I thought she was going to have stomach cancer, and I knew it 2 years before she had it. She got it, and I made sure she came to visit me. And I
you actually sent her out, James.
I
remember the story.
I brought her out. I bought the ticket. And that was good. She was the same person she was for 20 years earlier.
And there was a forgiveness. There was a
forgiveness.
Yeah, the relationship was repaired on some level.
It was repaired, and then she was dying. Went back to New York when she was on her deathbed, and she said, "James, please come here." And she hugged me. She goes, "I'm really sorry for any pain you've ever caused you. I'm really sorry." And it was beautiful. And I said, "I forgive you, Lynn. I love you." And it was great. It was a great healing for her, for me, for the rest of the family. We all had a lovely healing with that. And that's what it's about. So months later, my father came through to me. He rarely comes through, rarely. And he came through really clearly. He goes, "Do you understand why your sister behaved that way?" And I said, "No." He said, "Let me take you on a trip." And he took my mind on a trip to the space before I was born. And Lynn was in a crib, and she was a baby. And my father used to work both jobs, like as a policeman and also working television at night. And he was by himself. My mother was an alcoholic. So Lynn, and he showed me Lynn, and she was in the crib just wanting attention. And she never had any because my mother wasn't available, my father wasn't available. So her whole life, she was reaching out to get attention.
Oh my gosh.
And that hurt me so much that now I knew the reason why it happened. Now I knew where that came from.
That makes so much sense, but you got to understand where it came from.
He showed me.
Oh, I've got chills. Jeez.
He showed me where that came from. He showed me where that came from. And then from that point on, I felt the most empathy I could for her because that was, and now I understood it, you see. Yeah. And I think that a lot of us are in this hidden valley, this valley of forgetfulness. We come back here and we don't know everything. So get the benefit of the doubt, take the benefit of the doubt, and take the high road because there's a reason behind everything. I mean, I do believe everything is perfect in its own way, in the universal way. I really do. And there's changes every day. Things move. The secret of life again is movement. We have this eclipse happening. There's a movement there. Change of seasons. It's this movement, and you want to move in a positive, loving way. And I guarantee everybody, the quicker you do that, the universe will unfold before you, and things will start happening for you in a much quicker way and a way that's more in alignment to yourself. Promise you that.
Yeah. It's so right on. Oh my God. I mean, I think everybody could ask themselves, if you have a regret, what is this regret trying to teach you?
Why are you holding on to it?
Yes.
What's it teaching you?
What's it about? What's it about?
Why is it taking a place in your space?
Yeah.
What is it so important that it's taking that place? Do you want someone to be different than they were? Do you think they should have behaved?
I love that one, James. My mother used to say that. Do you think you want things different than they were? Yeah, that's a really good one.
Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, she always said that. Yeah, because often you don't want things to be a certain way, and then you act.
And it's also, Kelly, a certain amount of control involved, huh?
Totally.
Also. A lot of control involved. So
totally. And the other question is, if you cannot change what happened, how will you live differently because it did happen?
Right. Let it teach you something.
Yes.
Everything should teach us something more about ourselves. And along with teaching ourselves something, let it be that opportunity to forgive someone else for their past, to try to give them understanding, try to send them a hope of maybe, because you went through that experience, wish them well that they don't treat someone else that way, or that someone else doesn't take things the wrong way, or, try to do the best you can,
Right.
I really do believe as I get older, there's a lot of things with imprint. There's a lot of things with residue. Thoughts are things. Thoughts leave residue. Thoughts leave imprints. Our words leave as powerful. They leave energy there. It's all about energy. What we do with the energy, and you don't want to pass over and have regrets and resentment about that energy. That could have been a bright, beautiful, beautiful glass crystal window, and yet when you pass over, maybe it's all foggy and dirty and. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that. You have to do that right now on this earth. You give that opportunity to take the high road and forgive the behavior, forgive the person. I have a lot of people and it's so funny. A lot of from New York, the Jewish New Yorkers. How could she have done that to me, mother?
Oh yeah.
So funny because I have so many New York. But it's the whole thing with I don't know if it's a control thing, but. Yeah, you got to be better than that. And the moment you start, like we talked earlier with someone mentioned it, the moment they start forgiving someone, their lives change. And it's true.
Yeah. And then all the doors open up.
All the doors open up.
All the doors open up. That energy is released. And
God says
start moving about the cabin again.
It's true.
It's so true. So James, talk to us about what you have upcoming. So tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow I have 2 openings left for. I'm doing private. I'm doing readings.
Okay.
So tomorrow I have 2 seats open for it's a 7-people circle. That's about 2.5 hours. I read every single person very thoroughly. Amazing. And then and that's happening tomorrow. So there are 2 spaces open if people want to go to my website, which is vanpraagh.com. You can find it on there. And then I'm also going to Fiji in September, Kelly.
So tell us about your Fiji trip. I'm
doing a retreat to Fiji, myself and my friend Sue White, who is my yoga instructor and a good friend. And also there's a girl named Erin who's she does breath work. And we're going to work with people's soul selves, breath work, yoga, alignment, body alignment, meditation, mediumship, intuition. I'm going to do something called soul jumping, which is interesting because it's going to be.
What is soul jumping?
Yeah, that's a good question. So soul jumping, it's going to be like kind of past life regression, but not regression. It's going to be like your soul experiencing different levels of dimensions and different times. All the time you're in one place, and it's going to be a multi-dimensional experience. And that's all I'm going to say about it. And it's going to be to what you need to know at that particular moment about your life here on this earth.
Wow. Okay.
So they gave me it, and I wrote it all down. The soul jumping. Yes, call it soul jumping. I said okay. And
so in Fiji is what, like mid-September? What's the date?
September 16th. So if you're interested, you should sign up. Right away because September 16th is coming up. And then after that, Kelly, next week I start private readings again.
So tell everybody about you are going to do private readings. How many are you going to do a week, or what's your thought?
Okay, so I wanted to call it private mentoring, and I thought, well, people don't really know what mentoring means, so I'll call it private sessions. It's called private sessions, and what it is mediumship has changed so much. Better than anybody. It's changed so much, and I thought to do reading, and Spirit said no, make it. You need to bring the greatest need of your recipient. So that need might be an intuitive reading. That need might be a past life regression. That need might be energy reading. So I'm going to sit with the person and I'll see first of all what they want, would desire. And if it's mediumship, fine. If it's intuitive, fine. Sometimes it'll be a mixture of many things. So whatever the greatest need is that I'm sensing and feeling from that person, I work with them on that. And
that's the best way to do a reading.
Best way to do a reading, best way. I'm doing 2 readings a day, so that'll be I think it's Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. So I miss it. I miss working with people, so I want to do that again.
I think it's going to be great. James, I have a comment here from Nicole. She says we need some Kellee and James classes.
Oh, we do. We were thinking about we're doing one, right?
We're doing one we don't have them, but it's next
January or February. We're going to do
February.
One. Yeah, I'll be settled in my new home.
But with spirituality combined with psychology, I think.
It's the psychology of the soul. It's psychology of the soul.
Yeah. So we are going to do that. That'll be
because soul jumping is going to fall right into that.
Oh, it is. It is. And I want to mention that I don't think I even told you this, that Dr. Shirley and I, and Jen Weigel are doing an event in Chicago at the end of October 24th, and it's going to be at the Wayfair Theater, and I'll be doing readings at the theater, but then we're going to be having, live interactive questions and answers, psychology, spirituality, with James or with Jen Weigel, who's a spiritual teacher herself. And it's going to be great fun. So please join us in Chicago on October 24th, because that's going to be great. And I'm going to attend Carrie Gonia and Dwayne Morgan. Remember Dwayne Morgan? He was part of your mediumship class.
Yes.
So he's an extraordinary healer. So they're doing something in Sedona, and I'm going to attend that in Sedona, which is
when is that, Kelly?
Oh, I wish you could go. You would love it because you're going to be in Fiji. I think. Yeah, it's September 25th, and I think you are just
just be leaving. Fiji.
Just be leaving then, and so it's that weekend. So I'm really excited, and I want to give a shout out to our dear friend Elaine Morgan. Happy birthday, Elaine. I love you, honey. I'm so glad. Happy birthday. I'm so glad I get to see you soon. And another shout out to Larry Klimas, a dear friend who's a great musician and a wonderful man. So happy birthday, everybody. And on this eclipse tonight, meditate, think about what James and I talked about. What can you release? What can you release so you'll have more energy and you start to feel better?
And I wouldn't leave the house.
I told everybody, don't leave the house if you don't have to, because people are not paying attention. This is a big eclipse, and this eclipse is about healing. It's about healing. So, make sure you're doing that, okay? Oh, Crystal, here's a question for you, James. How do they sign up for mediumship or mentorship or mediumship?
So vanpraagh.com is my website. I'm not sure it's up yet. It'll probably be up tomorrow, but it'll be up probably tomorrow. So just make sure you bookmark my website. That'll be it, and you'll get in. Don't worry.
Good. All right, everybody.
Tomorrow night too. Friday night we have 2 openings if you want to do
and that. 2 openings Friday night to work with James, and everybody gets a reading on that, right?
Yeah, everyone. Yeah.
So that'll be great. All right, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James.
Everybody.
I love it when you're with me.
Yay.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.